Here are some things that I learned during my second year doing Inktober. I make better art when I have a plan. The more time I spend planning out the composition and how I want the image to be shaded and what kind of style I want the image to be in, and even time spent thinking about and planning out a photograph that I'll use for reference, it all makes the finished product much, much better. Paper has a huge effect on the look of the completed drawing's texture and level of depth. Last year I used a lot of very smooth paper. This year I used one type of paper for every single drawing, and the paper I used was rougher, so that created a different look in all of my drawings and paintings. Using painter's tape for the borders and plastic to cover the different areas of my sketchbook while I was working were a good plan. It helped preserve the rest of the drawings that I had already done so that I didn't mess anything up. When sketching on this paper, it was better to use softer pencil lead because it erases more easily. Drawing and shading with pen takes a lot longer than using ink wash, while ink wash takes considerably more planning. When using ink wash, I oftentimes rehearse the entire thing in my head several times before I get started to try and prevent any strange mistakes. White pen can be helpful to cover up mistakes, but it's not a perfect solution, and it doesn't really match the paper that well. More flexible nibs work better on rough paper. Using a sketchbook that's a hardcover looks really nice when everything is finished. It does, however, make the work process more challenging. I still really love drawing in pen. I spent a lot of time doing that when I was growing up, and it's still one of my favorites. Some of my favorite images were ones that I had made up completely in my head, just randomly. Starting Inktober a little bit early is a good plan. Last year I didn't know that they released the prompts a month early. Knowing that this year, I started planning everything out in September and even did a few drawings early, so that way I actually had some days that I could take off in October. This year I decided to take a break every 30 minutes and stop and either take a walk or play with the dog, do some stretches, do some strengthening exercises. All of that really helped me to not have nearly as much back and neck pain and not have any kind of strange injuries when this was all over. Also, just having a few built-in break days was really helpful as well. Those are all things I would definitely recommend.